Hey there buddy, Paller here, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing final thoughts on Wolfenstein The New Order. Wolfenstein The New Order is the most recent Wolfenstein game, came out on May 20th, 2014. It is available for pretty much anything and everything other than Nintendo platforms. But obviously we are going to be playing it on PC. This is sort of a reemergence, or I don't want to say reimagining, as I've been playing a lot of games that are the reimagining of classic franchises, but I suppose it is. Where we had Wolfenstein, or a return to Castle Wolfenstein a few years back that was actually very critically acclaimed, but I don't believe it sold all that well. So Bethesda went ahead and they put together a new studio, Machine Games, and they gave them the franchise, and they tried to create a new first-person shooter that was both modern yet respectful and reminiscent of the classic franchise, and brought both classic and modern elements together, I guess is what I'm trying to say there. And overall, they did a pretty good job. Let's go ahead and let's get into it. There's a few things I want to show you here before we really go down into there. This, as I said, I'm going to talk very much about hybrid, where it's a hybrid of classic and modern designs. If you played the original Wolfenstein, you'll know what I'm talking about here, where much of Wolfenstein was spent running around, clicking on walls, trying to find secret panels, to steal gold, find hidden weapons, and so forth. And there's a lot of hidden items throughout this game. In fact, one of the strengths of the game is the level design. While very linear, it does have a lot of little hidden areas in it. They tend to just be dead ends or loopbacks, but there's a lot of hidden areas with a lot of collectible items. And there's quite a bit of gold to be found, which doesn't really seem to have much of a purpose other than finding the gold. For those completionists out there, they're going to go a little nuts. You can unlock concept art as you go through, different characters, and different letters. Letters, we're not going to go through these too much, as these will be story spoilers, followed by recordings. Now, the recordings come in two different genres. They have these diary entries, which are, they explain backstory and everything. We're not going to listen to them. They also have these hidden records throughout the world. So what is going on in this game is basically the Nazi Germany won World War II. They managed to come up with a super technology, and they just decimated everyone. So much of the post-World War II music, a lot of the classic songs for us nowadays that came out of the 1950s, 1960s with the Beatles and all that, they've gone ahead and they've gone back and they recreated some of the more popular songs in how they would be made in a communist, Nazi-controlled world. And they've come up with some interesting stuff here. House of the Rising Sun is a little bit different. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. I'd have to go back and turn the volume up. But there's some very interesting music here. And I have to say, overall, the music in this game is top-notch. It's both interesting, and they also found a way of getting it to match the theme and the gameplay at the time. It builds at the right time. You know, the orchestral increase will rise as you're coming up to a big moment and everything, and it's just very well done. Another collectible that can be found is Enigma codes. So throughout the gameplay, as you're going through, you're going to find these Enigma papers. And for each paper you find, so in Chapter 1, for Code 1, you'll find pages of the Enigma code. As you can see here, I've gone through and I've gotten most of these, at which point, once I have all of these Enigma codes, I'll be able to transcribe the code, and this is supposed to unlock some gameplay. Unfortunately, I cannot find all of them. As you can see, I'm still missing a few, and I've put quite a bit of time chasing these down, and I'm at the point where I'm done hunting for them. So I don't know exactly what gameplay it unlocks, but I don't imagine it is all that much. Keep that in mind when I go ahead later on and talk about the length of the game and everything, as that will be important. But there are these Enigma codes. For those completionists out there, there is a lot of treasure hunting to do. Whether that is a good thing to you or not, you'll have to determine for yourself. We're also going to look at these chapters here. So we'll pick a chapter and we'll load into it. The reason this is important is you're going to see two different timelines here. So there are 16 chapters in the game. And roughly an hour and a half into it, what would be the asylum level, you come to a point where the game splits, and you either follow the Wyatt timeline or the Fergus timeline. If you follow the Fergus timeline, throughout the rest of the game as you play through it, you have the ability to hotwire certain elements. You'll find electrical panels that you can hotwire, and these will open up secret hidden rooms, normally 1 or 2 little rooms deep with a few secret items inside of it, where you can pick up an item that will increase your overall health. If you get one of these items, it'll give you plus 10 health. So instead of 100 health, you have 110 health. On the Wyatt timeline, very similar, except instead of hot wiring circuit panels, you'll be able to pick door locks. So you'll find these locked doors that you can pick. Inside there, you're going to find items that will increase the efficiency of your armor. So both storylines play out relatively similar for everything I've seen. There's little changes to the story depending on which timeline you're on, but overall, they're about 95% the same. So there is replayability in here, but again, it's going to be determined on how much of a completionist you are. Just keep this all in mind, as one timeline playthrough is going to run you about 8 to 8.5, maybe 9 hours, depending on your difficulty setting. So to do both of them, you're probably, since you'll be going through the second time, you're probably looking at about 15 hours to complete both timelines. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to load into, let's see, which one do I want? I want the bridge here, the Gibraltar Bridge. I'm not actually going to show the cutscene, but I want to show you, if we come up ahead here, right here is the difficulty selection screen. So you can see, this just cracks me up. This goes back to the original Wolfenstein. This was also somewhat in Doom, the guy with the little bonnet and the pacifier, and then it moves up through difficulty. I played the whole game on Bring 'em On, and through my first playthrough, I made it through the game with about 12 to 15 deaths, and about half of those deaths were from falling. So actual enemy AI and their bullet damage and all that wasn't all that crazy if you played it relatively safe. If you went running into a room, you were going to die. Depending on your skill in first-person shooters, you might want to kick it up, as it would be a little more of a challenge. If I go back and replay again, I will be going through on Death Incarnate just for that. Okay, I'm going to cut the video here, as there's going to be a fairly long cutscene, story-driven cutscene, and I don't want to spoil anything, but we will be back once we are in-game. Okay, here we are in-game now. Now, as we go into this and start going, I think we need to obviously talk, a little bit, and I should really just do one video where I go very in-depth on this opinions of mine. As pretty much any first-person shooter right now, you have got to talk about the Call of Duty influence and everything. And I tend to be rather down on Call of Duty, and I don't want it to come across like that. So let's just clear the air before we do this, as a lot of the rest of the video I'm going to talk about where it varies from that, and if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So, while it may seem that I am a big hater of Call of Duty, this is not the case. What I hate about Call of Duty is the fact that after it came along, we're talking way back with the Call of Duty 4, the first Modern Warfare, for the last 5 to 8 years now, every single developer, not every, but most developers have tried to, they want the same success as Call of Duty. So this, come on, die already, thank you. This story-driven, linear, but where I would call like the backseat or the second seat on the roller coaster driven first-person shooter has become the norm. And I've gone into this a little bit before. The backseat meaning the game is designed in a way that you follow somebody for the most part, where you are being led along to make sure that, one, you don't get stuck, so the game's pacing has a very set amount to it, where it can keep your attention, because God forbid they let you explore, but you get led along by NPCs or by cutscenes or by certain events that force you down a path at a set rate. combined with waiting at doors for other NPCs to open it up and everything. And this type of gameplay is not inherently bad. When it first came along in the first Modern Warfare, it was actually quite refreshing, as we had not had an experience really driven like that before. My problem with it is, since then, so many other developers have followed, because they all wanted to get in on that same success Call of Duty was having. That's my disconnect with Call of Duty. Having one game like that every year or two would have been fine. Having every first-person shooter for the last 5 or 8 years copy some of those elements and try to hit that same success has been my main issue. I bring this up because this game was originally, when they were first showing it off... Whoop, hey, that's not very nice. That's not nice at all, mister. When they first started to show off this game, people that I trust, this was at E3s, PAXs, different game shows, were saying that this very much felt like Call of Duty with a Wolfenstein theme to it. And that did not sound very pleasing to me at all. Now, I can pretty happily tell you, somewhere along the line, either from feedback at the convention shows or from their own internal testing, they realized that wasn't a very good idea. And for the most part, they have found a hybrid gameplay design that is both modern, yet classic to the Wolfensteins, the Dooms, the Shadow Warriors, and that's another great example of this, Shadow Warrior, of a free-roaming yet linear, that doesn't make sense, not free-roaming, but free to explore and progress at your own speed type linear campaign. And I would say this is very much a AAA version of one of my favorite games last year, Shadow Warrior. I was a huge fan of Shadow Warrior. It was terrific. And while it wasn't groundbreaking by any means, it had a very linear, single-player focused campaign. There was no multiplayer in it, but you were free to go about it in your own way. And that was just refreshing and quite nice. Hello, Mr. Big Guy down there. Let's see if we can... This is not the best cover. Is he dead? I think he's dead. Alright. Get out of there. Run away. Okay, so I've been talking about the hybrid and all this. What do I mean by this? Well, in my opinion, what they've done is they've gone ahead and they've done a great job of mixing many different elements to... Whoops. Let's see, I want this gun. I'm just trying to find some hidden gold. There's one piece of hidden gold left on here, I think. 1 gold, 3 Enigma codes I'm trying to find. So I'm kind of taking my time slow here as I talk and just exploring, seeing if I can find any of these hidden items. Anyway, they've taken several different paths in order to do this. They've brought together elements from a bunch of different games into one mixed bag that actually turns out to be pretty good. For example, the health system. If you look at my health is currently at 110. This is because I've unlocked 1 health upgrade. I've also unlocked a bunch of armor upgrades. But by default, I had 100 health. I now have 110. And health works in basically sections of 20. Excuse me. If you have 1 health, so say you get in a really nasty firefight, you're about to die, you have 1 health and you get back under cover, your health will regenerate only to 20. At 20, it's going to stop regenerating. To get any more health, you're going to have to get health kits. And they're pretty prevalent. You're going to find health kits all over the place. They're easy to come by. Most zones are completely littered with them. Right there is a health kit I can pick up. And so forth. Now, if you have 21 health, it's going to regenerate to 40. If you have 50 health, it's going to regenerate to 60. If you have 55 health, it's going to regenerate to 60. If you get the idea, it stacks in 20s. So you're always going to go to the nearest 20 health, or multiple of 20 health, in order for your regeneration. Anything beyond that is going to be health pickups. But then there is also overcharging. And this is going to be reminiscent for many people of Quake, where if I pick up this health pack, if you watch my health, it's going to go up to 130. Now, I can't stay at above my maximum health. It's going to slowly tick down. But as long as I keep picking up health packs, I can continue to stack my health higher and higher. Now we're up to 147. And the max I've seen it upwards of 240 at one time. I've heard people have it up over 300. So you can use this to load up and get a whole bunch of health way above what you would normally be able to have for bigger, heavier, tougher boss battles and such. So the health system is kind of a cross between the classic Duke Nukem style pickup system combined with the modern regeneration system, and a little bit of Quake thrown in there too in the overcharge system. We have the armor, which you'll see I'm picking up flak jackets and stuff. Armor works just as a mitigator, as you would expect. From what I can tell, don't quote these exact numbers on me, but basically if you get hit with a bullet that does 10 damage and you have armor on, right? Instead of your health taking 10 damage, you will take 5 damage to your health and 5 damage to your armor. Hey doggy, you just scared the crap out of me. So armor works just as a buffer for your health, but right now I basically have 75 damage I could take before I would die. Haha, that didn't kill you? Yeah, that's what I thought, Bubby. I see you, Mr. Nazi Commander. I see you, yes I do. Where is this gold? Gold. Wonder if I can get onto there and follow that rail down to there. Let's see. This is probably going to get me killed, but we'll see what I can do here. Whoop. Yeah. Then can I get up there? Uh-oh. Did you hear that guy? He said, "Ow, Shizer!" I don't know, that made me laugh. Alright, rocket launcher time. Oh! Crap! That's bad. That's bad. Run away. Run away. Yeah, you're down. Alright, we need some armor. Yeah. Alright, where's my assault rifle again? Or my marksman. Gotta clear out this guy. That guy there has rocket launchers. Now, the level design is also kind of a mixed hybrid of retro. I would say the level design kind of resembles BioShock, the first BioShock, not Infinite, and to some extent BioShock 2, where there's somebody shooting me from up there. No wonder I was getting my face eaten off. This rocket dude's got to go down. He's down. Hang on, let me clear out some of this riffraff. Oh, and we're out of ammo. Where's this guy's gun? Here we go. This will work. Ah! Die. But the levels have a both. They are very linear in design, with branching loop-back paths would be the best way I would describe it. Where basically you can go off in one way and you'll normally find a little bit of a hidden secret item or something, but any of those branches always come back to the same primary path, so the game always progresses in the same manner. So it's not exactly open and branching, but just a little bit of variety in how you approach it. The best description, modern description, I would say, as I said, is the original BioShock. Had a similar playstyle. Oh, I see you. And this thing is not very accurate, and I'm out of ammo. Where's my machine gun? My machine gun has a rocket launcher on it. I don't know why. I do know why. There you go. Somebody. Jesus. So many Nazis. So many Nazis. Overall, the level design is actually pretty good. The hidden items inside of it are very well hidden. I've played through this one particular map 4 or 5 times now, and I still haven't found everything, and I've been looking. This is my third attempt at creating the video. So, I've been doing this and just searching for this one piece of gold, and I've been unable to find it. And I think that's a pretty good testament. They didn't just make it a straightforward... It's a straightforward linear level, but they didn't just make it easy, if that makes sense. And I've really been enjoying the level design, and that was something I expected to absolutely hate. Now, some of it is because I'm free to go about it in whatever way I want. And this goes back to the call... shit. These guys. You dead? You're dead. Part of that is because I'm free to approach the level in any way I want. Having a linear level isn't necessarily a bad thing. No, it can be a great thing. It can be a great way to showcase a certain features or elements that you want to really focus on. The problem with linear levels is when they always play out the exact same because you have certain mechanics in place that force them that way. That is what I'm getting at when I talk about, the Call of Duty type or Call of Duty type first-person shooters. Did I really just almost say MMO? I did. And so forth. So the level design, I've really been enjoying it. I've also been kind of on my own outside of Shadow Warrior. I haven't really played any linear first-person shooters recently. So I could just be I've gotten to the point where I'm ready for another first-person shooter that's linear. You'll have to judge that for yourself if it's something you're interested in. But I've found the levels to be fun. I've found them to be interesting, well-designed, and just overall great. Where is this gold? Now, I do have some pretty big complaints about the weapon system. So let's get to a safe spot where I'm not going to fall to my death. And we have to get down off of this stupid thing. Can I get up to here? Nope. Up, down we go. And we're down. That's one way down. So, if I come in here, you can see this weapon wheel. You have your melee, your knife, which you can do this. You can also, when you're close to somebody, you can do a mouse wheel 3 to kill them. Or, if you have multiple knives, you can throw knives. So this is a silent takedown that is pretty darn effective. You can dual wield knives. So if you really want to stab people double time, you can do that. Everything can be dual wielded for the most part. You have the pistol, which by default is a 3-round burst pistol. It's actually pretty darn effective. You can put a silencer on it, which turns it into a single round fire. Really good for taking out people from stealth, as you might expect from a silenced pistol. Then you have the assault rifle, which you've seen me going through using this. The default assault rifle did not have this rocket launcher you've seen me use a little bit. This was picked up actually earlier in this level, would have been when you unlock that, which is pretty far into the game. So as you go through, you can unlock different features and attachments for the weapons. They're unlocked via the story. They're pretty hard to miss, but you won't have the full effect of this assault rifle for quite some time. Initially, it's just a regular assault rifle. So keep that in mind. You can dual wield these assault rifles, which is pretty awesome. We'll use this up ahead a little bit. I don't want to waste my ammo, as you can go through a lot of ammo really quick with this. They have a shotgun. Shotgun can be either buckshot or slug, so that's buckshot. That's slug. All pretty neat. Obviously, we can dual wield them. And then you saw me with the marksman rifle here. The marksman rifle like this fires ammo, or I can kick the scope down where it becomes an energy rifle. So I'm shooting laser pulses now, which I can then recharge at stations. I saw a station right here, like this, where I can recharge it. And lastly, we have the laser gun. Now, this laser gun is probably one of the few interesting weapons in the game. Initially, it's just a pretty weak laser. You might have seen me cutting through some fences earlier. I can hit C, and it has two different forms. In this form right here, it has a little torch on the end that I can use to burn through different crates, different gates and stuff to open up other paths, allowing you to approach targets from different angles and everything. None of the items around here that I'm seeing right now I can burn, so I can't really demonstrate that. Then I can close it up and it turns into a pulse rifle, like this. Now, initially when I first got this, it didn't have, you see like that scopy thing on the right hand side, and when I bring it up here I have a scope. None of those things were on it. It also did not recharge on its own. In order to recharge it, I had to do like I did with that last laser rifle and go to a station for it. As I played through the game, I unlocked these additional items for it, which made it more powerful and more potent. And at this point, it's actually probably my strongest weapon. As you can see, I just took down that real heavy guy right there in 2 hits, which is pretty unusual. This thing is interesting. This is what I would expect from Wolfenstein weaponry, especially a Wolfenstein based around them finding some weird technology and having this futuristic technology that just kicked butt with. Unfortunately, most of the other ones are pretty bland. I mean, this thing's kind of interesting, but for the most part, you're going to use it as a marksman rifle. And as a marksman rifle, it's just kind of normal. So there's some mixed bag of weapons here. Now, there does seem to be, like, there's a spot here at this 1 o'clock position on the wheel where it looks like there should be a weapon. I cannot confirm or deny if there is one there. I've not been able to find it. I've never seen a weapon in that spot. There might be some awesome minigun or something I can pick up, you know, the classic Wolfenstein minigun. I've not found it. Don't be shooting at me. That's not very nice. That was a nice roll. Now you're dead. Now you're dead. You're dead. Oh, let's reload. We'll go double. Here we go. Double time. Woohoo! Good way to waste ammo. Really, really quick. Everybody dead? Everybody dead? 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 Everybody dead. Alright, reload. Here's a... Nope, that's not one of those crates. I thought that was one of those crates I could cut through, and so forth. Now, the weapons do have... There's actually more weapons than this. Now, I gotta go into some very minor spoilers in order to talk about this. I apologize for that. But in order to explain this... Oh, here's a crate. So we can take this thing out. We can pop it out into torch mode. So this is pulse rifle. There's torch mode. And we can cut this open. And in there is ammo. We can also use this to open up grates and stuff. Let's see, let's pick this lock. So the story of Wolfenstein, for the most part, takes place in 1960. That's what year we're in right now. That's where we're going to get most of the technology that you just saw me demonstrate, all the weapons and everything. However, there is about 2 hours of the game that takes place in either 46 or 44. I can't remember which year it was. At those points in time, you do have other weapons. You have a Thompson machine gun. You have some basic, the SK Nazi machine gun. I can't remember what it was called. You get a double barrel shotgun, like a classic old farmer style double barrel shotgun. All kinds of weird items, like, not weird, all kinds of expected items like that. So there is a whole nother wave of items, but they're for the most part pretty generic and just slightly older versions of what you end up using in the advanced part of the game. And just in general, I think the weapons could have really had a bit more to them. I think they lacked a little bit of creativity, which is disappointing. We do have turrets. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Turrets! Now the turrets are somewhat interesting, I guess, and we can pick up the turret and we can carry it, but it'll run out of ammo pretty quick. Now, if it does run out of ammo, you can always replace it back into one of the mounts. So if we put it back in the mount here, and you watch the ammo, it'll regenerate. Actually regenerated really quick on its own there. Why did it do that? Shouldn't have done that. Let's empty it down. Yeah, and then if we put it back in the mount, it starts recharging before I even have it in the mount. So you get turrets and everything. just a little lackluster. They're acceptable. They get the job done. Had they been a little more impressive, though, it would have been a nice touch if they really went out of their way to get some odd technologies and strange weapons that we have not seen before. Would have been great. Okay. Now, overall, the game is a mixed bag. Mostly good, but there are some definite negatives we have to talk about. Obviously, the one negative, weapon is a little odd. From a technical standpoint... Is he dead? He's dead. From a technical standpoint, the game is a mixed bag, as with from a gameplay standpoint. Most of the time, the game runs at a rock-steady 60 FPS with no problems at all. I have it completely maxed out. Now, I am running a... Is that guy dead? Yeah, he's dead. Doesn't look dead. I am running a 770, so I have a pretty beefy GPU, but it's just pinged perfect 60. They have it set at that. It does seem to be capped at 60, as you can't go above that. I've never seen anything above 60. However, there are times in the game, there are elements, certain zones, where there seem to be like a lot of destroyable boxes like this, boxes I can cut open, or a lot of fog and fire effects, where the FPS tank, and they tank bad. I'm talking down to, say, about 15 frames a second, even on low. And it just is rough. There's one entire zone that lasts about 2 minutes, where the frame rate is just unplayable. Luckily, there's not a whole lot of combat there. It's mainly you're exploring through this area, so you can get through it without too much trouble. But there seems to be some optimization issues. There is also some annoying, not game-breaking, but annoying texture pop-in. I don't know if I can actually demonstrate this to you guys, and this may just be because I run my field of view at max. I'm running 100 field of view. Right there, the frame rate just drops. Now we're down to 30 FPS. Let's see if it's going to pick back up again. Frame rate's down, up, and there's the frame rate back up. So for some reason the frame rate just dropped there. I don't know what it is. And we're back to 30. So something's going on right here that it doesn't like. And I don't know what it is. Let's come down here and see if we can figure out what it is. Hello? I don't know. Oh, we're not going that way. But, anyway, what was I saying? From a technical standpoint, hey, I see you. Yep. Come back up here, come up here. Somebody's shooting me from higher, right there. You have that. Fog effects, those things drop it. There's certain zones. There just seems to be some optimization issues. There also, what I was saying with my field of view, there seems to be some nasty texture pop in behind you at times. If you spin around too quick, you'll occasionally see textures pop in. Not game breaking by any means, just a little frustration. My guess on this one is they were, in order to save some memory space on the consoles, they were de-rendering the textures behind you. So if you stay facing one way for a while, it cuts down the render, and that way they're not using up as much memory, blah, 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 blah. And then with the higher field of view, if you spin around real quick, you'll sometimes see that pop in. Minor frustration, nothing crazy. From an audio standpoint, the game's pretty lackluster. From a weapon standpoint, the game's pretty lackluster. The music is great, but the actual audio is just kinda, it has no punch behind it. The weapons sound like pea shooters. There is no separate sliders for the different audios. If we come in here, there's just master volume. And this is important in this game because there's a lot of comm chatter where they're giving you directions and stuff. You can never hear it over the gunplay. You can't turn down the sound effects and keep the vocals high, which would have been great. I would say I've heard less than half of the instruction lines that were told to me because I'm in the middle of a firefight. And that's just annoying. You know, just let me turn down the sound effects would have been great. Again, a minor complaint. But from a technical standpoint, the game is about average in terms of a port. It's not a great port, but it's not a terrible port either. If you have a lower end system, you're probably going to run into some problems with it. And, you know, it's not amazingly graphically beautiful. It's just enough to be nice. I'm holding up in this area for a moment as I'm about to show you something for my next point of view, or next point. Yeah. Another thing that is a bit of a problem, and this is going to be different for everybody, is the game does have some excessive, gruesome graphics, gore. Depending on your opinion on it, here's going to be a minor element to it. So there you get a little bit of an idea, and for Wolfenstein, that's actually kind of minor, for this game, I mean. There are scenes of torture, there are scenes of dismembering, there are just some graphic scenes in this game. So if that's something you are not comfortable with, you're not going to want to play this game. Now, to be fair to the game, I don't think they actually do it for shock and awe value. I think it is more for story-driven elements. And it didn't overly bother me. There was one scene that was a particularly cringeworthy, but for the most part, I think they were doing it to drive home a certain point of... What the... Did you see that? I think they were doing it more to drive home a state of how terrible things were from the Nazis and everything. You end up in a concentration camp. Let's just put it there and leave it at that. There should be... Here comes a big doggy. Big doggy. Hello, doggy. Goodbye, doggy. Alright. Is he dead? Nope. Come on. You can die. You can die. You can die. Alright. How many rounds do I have to hit you with? There we go. Everybody dead? Nope. You're dead. Everybody dead? Nope. You're dead. And so forth. Oh, you might have seen it right there. There was some nasty texture pop in when I came out of this thing. So I've been in this turret long enough, it cut the rendering over here. Oh, it's back now. Again, that's a minor complaint. The bigger one is the... Woohoo! Woo! Run away. Double shotgun, double shotgun. Here we go. Come here, buddy. That's what I thought. Causing me to waste all this shotgun ammo. Now, at the end of the day, what are my final thoughts on this game? Overall, the gameplay has been quite enjoyable. The story wasn't bad, had some very good characters, is a nice mix of classic yet modern elements that I think did a much better job than I was really expecting them to do. I had a real blast playing through the story campaign once. The technical issues are enough to be concerning depending on how much power your system has. If you know you're a little light on the hardware, you might want to wait for some patches. I imagine there's going to be some driver updates rolling out or a big patch for this that should fix most of these problems. If they get that all worked out, it should run pretty well, because for the most part, you know, 95% of the game runs without any major issues. It's that one little 5% that really... Oh, almost went off the edge there. I'm still looking for this last piece of gold. Gold, gold, gold! I want my gold! It's at 5%, but it is a noticeable 5%, especially when we are talking the slowdowns. The frame pop-ins, that's minor. The audio is minor. The lack of guns is disappointing, but not game-breaking. The big question that's going to come about this game is, how much gameplay do you get out of your $60? For me, I'm only going to get 10 or 12 hours out of this initially. This is a game where I might come back to it in 6 or 8 months and play through the story again after I've had some time to let it settle. But I'm not somebody that is going to farm up all the Enigma drops. I'm not somebody that's going to go after every piece of gold, even though I've been after that for the most part this story playthrough. That's just because I needed something to do while I was talking. But that is not something I personally enjoy. I tend to be somebody that focuses more on, you know, I play the game to have fun. and I don't get fun from farming those things. So, from that standpoint, the content's a little light. However, if you're a completionist, there's probably 18 to 20 hours of gameplay here, which for a single-player first-person shooter, that's not bad. We've seen far worse than that in recent years. Other than that, though, it's just the actual game is really good. So, at the end of the day, I would give the gameplay itself a 7.5 out of 10. A great mix of classic and modern elements. As to value, that's subjective, but I would say this is more a $60 game than, I'm sorry, it's more of a $40 game than a $60 game. Oh, that was fun. So keep that in mind, look at it however you want, take into account your play style, how much you're going to put into farming everything up, and that could change your opinion on it. With that, I think that about covers it. We've been talking enough here, but this has been Paller. We've been doing final thoughts on Wolfenstein: A New Order. Thanks for watching.